So we're out here. We're looking at Jim's journey. He says he's got a squeaky brake. Chris, can you go ahead and I don't know if you guys can see. Yeah, it's squeaking all right. It probably won't turn. Oh, listen to that. It's a nice. Oh, God. Oh, that's not good. That's not the rust wiggling it. There it is. So, yep. Oh my gosh. Do that again. Yep, you got a bad brake pads. Yep, bad brake pads.
Ohio.
Okay, I'm actually out of breath. So, what had happened was, over here, we have, is that cool yet? I had, oh my gosh, this thing was such a pain in the butt. As you can see, you look inside here, he's actually missing a couple bearings. And there's a lot of deformity. There's no grease at all. Ooh, it's still hot. Ooh, super hot. All right, I'm gonna try and do this again when it's not scalding. Let's try this again. So here's the bearing that we pulled out, and that thing was a monster. It really was. I've already scrubbed all this out. It was basically chemically welded to the knuckle down here, and it's still super hot. But you can hear that shaking in there. It should spin, just not that loose, and I shouldn't be able to wiggle it around like that. That is one of the worst wheel bearings I've seen that still had the balls in it. You can, if my camera focuses, you can see some of the balls in there are like worn flat. There's one right there, worn flat. This thing was on the verge of a catastrophic failure. So Jim thought that the squealing and grinding from his rear passenger tire was caused by his brakes. And they weren't. His brakes don't look bad at all. He could use new pads, but rotor looked good. It was definitely his wheel bearing. We saw that right away, and we made a short about it. Oh, look at that. It's like a maraca. So we're going to get this fixed. He's actually out getting the part with Chris right now. And yeah, thank God we caught it when we did, because that could have been super bad. Hey, I wanted to show you guys too. First of all, I apologize for not filming me taking the hub out, or the wheel bearing out, because that thing was a beast, and it took me a while. It took me actually almost an hour to get that out. A lot of heating, a lot of welding. I'll show you what to do, but look at this mess. Okay, if you're thinking about being a mobile mechanic, you're gonna want to figure out how to stay organized. This is my pulley puller, or my hub puller. The box is actually broken. It came broken, but I mean, I just got stuff laying out everywhere. And this is the pad I kneel on. Well, at least here at Chris's house, I use a wool blanket for other stuff. But what ended up working is I took, if you guys don't know, one of these. And this is an Astro Tools last chance impact. This is a hub removal bolt. So basically what you do, and I'll get the hub over here, what you do is you knock out a stud. Here I knocked out a stud. It popped out there. Right there, those two marks, those are where I put this bolt through one of these studs. Just like that. And then you take this nut, you put it on there, and you have to hold it down. You really do. You have to hold it, and then you drive it, and it pulls against the face of the wheel bearing here, which then separates up here from the hub. The problem is I had to chew through the heat shield, so now I gotta hammer that flat, maybe even get a new one. But that did work. It ended up pushing sideways out first and then top down, and then I used my actual hub puller to leverage it back up. It was not bad at all. So, but make sure you take all 4 bolts out, and then when you're done, you just take, I just took a little wire brush, again, spray it down with some brake clean to keep the dust down, because you don't want to breathe in that dust, and just scrub it out. Get all the big stuff out. If you have a wire wheel, that works really well. But a little bit of elbow grease and some brake clean, and you can get that out just as good. So you can see we do have a new wheel speed sensor coming, because that thing snapped off like a twig the second I touched it. So yeah, Jim and Chris will be coming heading back shortly. I am going to start cleaning up my mess and getting ready to reinstall the hub. So since you guys saw me last, we've had a little bit of update with the journey, on our own journey. So old hub out, or old wheel bearing out, new wheel bearing in. That was fine. New wheel speed sensor is in. As you can see, we everything's fine. Everything's fine. It's all good. But we did have a little bit of trouble getting out the hub, and yeah, getting the new one in. Don't worry about those little guys. They'll buff out. Everything will be okay. They'll get they're not going to affect the efficiency of the heat shield. If anything, it'll help stay cool a little better. So what we're going to do now is we're going to get the brake rotor back in place. I'm going to change my gloves out, and we're going to start buttoning this thing up and getting out of here, because it actually looks like it's going to snow or rain, probably rain. But to be fair, that's what the skies look like in Ohio for like 8 months out of the year. So it's just a solid sheet of gray. So all right, I'm gonna set the camera up, and we might even do a time lapse of putting all this stuff back together. Hang in there, stand by.